Okay, so this is profession and life satisfaction during middle and adulthood. I'm Annika.
And I'm Maritha.
I'm Jessica.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Manshil.
So for our introduction, the overview of our topic is analyzing the relevance of middle adulthood in profession and life, presenting information on challenges and benefits. And our purpose is to inform of the effects of the workforce during middle adulthood and demonstrate a connection to overall life satisfaction. Lifespan development is taught in order to gain knowledge about not only yourself, but the people around you, such as children and parents. It is important to know since everyone goes through it, and it helps us to better understand our life as children and our future as adults.
Okay, so how does our physical and cognitive abilities affect our work performance during middle adulthood? So the physical and cognitive abilities affect our work performance during the middle adulthood because our memorizing skills and perceptual speech both quote unquote start to decline. Another effect that can affect work performance during this stage of life is a midlife crisis stage. In this stage, this transition happens in the middle adulthood stage. And so the symptoms can vary, and some of the very common ones are depression or grief. And this like midlife crisis stage can affect the work performance by causing the person to have lack of energy and lack of motivation.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about what Brian mentioned about the midlife crisis. So there are mixed opinions on whether midlife crises are prevalent. For example, in the textbook, it talks about how, from one perspective, midlife is considered a crisis because a middle-aged adult is stuck between assessing their past and present life, which often makes them question the continuity of their current life. However, another perspective that was mentioned in the textbook was that it was said that happiness and well-being takes an upward trajectory during midlife, and this may be due to the fact that many of those in midlife reach high levels of mental abilities, such as cognitive skills, vocabulary, inductive reasoning, etc. But as Brian mentioned, it slowly begins to decline as we get closer to late adulthood. The midlife crisis may be triggered by financial stressors, illness, or job loss, and maybe even adjusting to like your kids growing up and leaving home, just like big life changes like that. And there is also a change of perception of time once you hit middle adulthood, because you look at time in the perspective of instead of looking at it from time since birth, you look at it as time left to live. And then also the time of reflection, which may prompt drastic changes in life. So as you grow older in middle adulthood, you may look back and reflect more on life, and that may cause you to create more drastic changes in your life, like buying a new car or wanting to move somewhere different, which may be categorized as a midlife crisis. And in this chart on the right, it just shows that there's not really a significant increase in emotional instability during middle adulthood. So that just shows that there may or may not be a midlife crisis. And yeah.
So what are some of the challenges and benefits that employees encounter during middle adulthood? Some challenges include peak satisfaction. So this means like instead of just at that age, you kind of just don't want to stay at the workers. You kind of want to stay more as like go up a chain, like supervisor and manager. That's what it really asks for. Most of the like other challenges that I've seen on the research was that a lot of people are burned out, so they kind of feel more like they want to, change jobs with like this affecting the pay cuts and including hours. Like people just want to be part-time, just because they have reported like 5% of employees have reported like the problems of like not getting paid enough. So at that age, you kind of just want to move up the chain instead of like staying at a certain position. Also, some challenges like the previous slide, you see women's was a little bit higher than the men's, was because the women feel like they're being just discriminated. This includes not having the same opportunities as a man in a business, or just in general in an organization where you're working at. And the age difference, you can see it a lot in the middle adulthood. People are wanting to hire younger people that have more of a work life span than a 50-year-old or 40-year-old that in 10 years will retire. And it's just it shows some of the challenges of like emotionally as well of how things are.
Okay, and then some of the benefits of um, some of the benefits that employees encounter during middle adulthood would be like occupation and life goal satisfaction. So a number of studies have found that job satisfaction tends to peak in middle adulthood for some people. This satisfaction stems from not only higher wages, but often greater involvement in decisions that affect the workplace as they move from worker to supervisor or manager. Job satisfaction is also influenced by being able to do the job well. And after many years of experience at a job, many people are more effective and productive. And so, yeah, usually in the middle adulthood, they have reached a higher position or statuses and they earn higher wages sometimes. And then they also may have access to better work benefits when they like reach seniority. It also provides them a sense of purpose during a time of transition, change, and renewal, which could be also like the midlife crisis that people are experiencing. So that kind of like steers them away from experiencing that, because being in the workforce for so long provides them with that sense of like purpose and regularity. So yeah.
Okay, and then what is the importance of leisure in middle adulthood? Leisure is described as pleasant times after work that include different hobbies. It could be like the picture cycling, um, maybe golfing, or just sitting outside, anything that does not have to do with work. Researchers found that men who went on annual vacations were 21% less likely to die in the 9 year span um, that the study was conducted, and 32% were less likely to die of coronary heart disease. One study, also based on leisure time and physical activity, found that adults that were active in middle adulthood were less likely to experience cardiovascular disease.
I'm just continuing off of what Anika said. So, leisure time activities would be shown to be a significant element of a person's general well-being and life satisfaction, and time to time again. So, like this means like what kind of activities they're doing to expand on their life. And according to the American College of Sports Medicine, those who choose to participate in a regular sports activity have decreased incidence of bad health, low self-esteem, and sleeping disorders. So like people that like continue to play sports or stay active during their leisure time, they tend to have a lower chance of getting sick and keeping themselves healthy. Researchers also discovered that people who engage in most leisure time physical exercise during their lives had 36% reduced chance of mortality than those who weren't active at all. So it's pretty important to stay active during your middle adulthood so you can keep yourself healthy for the future.
Okay, and then for our conclusion, some of the things that kind of sum up the information that we came up with is that leisure is an important part of well-being during middle adulthood and can help improve health outcomes. And then challenges may outweigh the positives of working during middle adulthood, and experiencing a midlife crisis may depend on an individual's outcome, or I meant to say outlook on life. And then potential decline in physical and cognitive abilities greatly impact the workforce performance. And then for reliable sources, while I think that we all used pretty reliable sources, I would say that we used some scholarly articles and information from the textbook as well. And I think those would be considered reliable because they were peer reviewed and also fact checked and updated as the years went by. And then implications, adults in midlife are generally satisfied with life, but maybe not so much in their career. And as a result, this may have an effect on well-being during late adulthood and quality of life. And also some important questions that we considered after making this presentation was, would we also feel this way during midlife, and is early retirement more beneficial?